Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes. Let me just very quickly mention right off the top download the free Meteorologist Joe Cioffi weather app on Google Play or on the App Store. That's what it's called, Meteorologist Joe Cioffi. You have all the snowfall forecast maps on there from North Carolina all the way up into northern Maine, and they update when the Weather Service updates them. So easy, right on your phone, and done. And also, Angry Ben's weather app, the Angry Weatherman, is also free, and you can download that on Google Play. That covers more around New York City. And thank you for those of you who've become Facebook supporters by clicking on the Become a Supporter button. They help keep the apps free and the ads on them to a minimum. So I thank you very much for doing that, and it really does help out. Okay, let's get started. I've got some new snow maps to show you. And we're going to start with the area around New York City, and then I'm going to go down into southeast and south central PA down into Maryland. So what I did was, I thought yesterday, and I discussed this late yesterday afternoon and evening, I thought the Weather Service numbers were just too high around this area. And they have kind of they have moved them down a little bit overnight. I think they make a bit more sense. I took my original numbers and just kind of nudged them up a little bit in some spots. I pulled the 2 inch line a little bit further to the south and brought it across the north shore of Long Island, and the 1 inch line running pretty much right, let's say, right along Sunrise Highway. From there south, it'll be a coating to an inch. And I'm thinking a couple of inches around New York City to about Newark, and then running south and west. Now, if we wind up delaying any changeover to rain this evening by about an hour or so, you could see these numbers have a little bit of upside to them. I put the 3 inch line just north of White Plains, crossing over through Bergen County, and south and west of there, Parsippany, down over to about Allentown, and 4 inches from just north of Danbury in Connecticut, running southwest along the Putnam line and the Orange County line, and then into northwest New Jersey. And I think this is a pretty fair assessment of what to expect. Now, moving south, I for coastal New Jersey, flakes flying in the mix. Maybe there's a coating that comes out of this, and then it changes over to rain. But that's always tough. It depends on the wind direction. If it's 170 or 160 from the south southeast, it'll probably change over quickly. If it's more like 210 or 220, then you're going to wind up delaying it a bit. So I went for a coating to an inch west of pretty much west of the park of the Garden State Parkway. And then I drew the 1 inch line from northern Monmouth County to go east of Trenton, in through western Burlington County to the east of Philadelphia, south of Wilmington, and then across northern Maryland over Frederick and Westminster. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. And the 2 inch line running from northernmost Mercer County on south and west, going north and west of Philadelphia, and moving southwest west from there until you get almost, but not quite, to the Delaware line, and then it turns westward to about just north of Hanover. Lancaster is in the 2 to 3 inch zone. Harrisburg, the 3 inch line going just north of Harrisburg, and then to about Reading, and then north and east of there. So I think these are pretty good assessments of where all of this is headed in time. And you can see the numbers from the Weather Service. They're not that far off, I think, from what I've got. You've got some max amounts in northern PA, an inch or two, maybe a coating to an inch or so for Baltimore, perhaps a coating of snow down in Washington, D.C., thinking between an inch and an inch and a half. Maybe some upside just north and west of Philadelphia, where they could see a couple of inches. New York City about 2 to 3, and then you start to get into the 5 and 6 inch amounts as you head up through the Hudson Valley and on up into parts of Connecticut. We all have winter weather advisories up for much of the Northeast and the interior areas of the northern mid-Atlantic states. Winter storm warnings through upstate New York, north of I-90, and in through Massachusetts and northwest Connecticut. And we are still dealing with blizzard warnings that are up in parts of the plains. Winter storm warnings back up through Minnesota. This storm has had, having quite a bit of impact across the northern tier here, from the plains right through the Northeast. The biggest impact has been more to the west. The numbers in the Northeast are going to be reasonable, and it's not like it's suddenly going to turn into a 1 to 2 foot snowstorm. It's just not going to work that way. Now, here's the radar as of 9 a.m. And the dilemma in the forecast really lies in the structure of the radar. There's this lead arm, almost a burst of snow, that is running across Pennsylvania now and heading into New Jersey. There's a little gap behind it, and then you've got another area of precip. So the dilemma in the forecast is really that gap and whether it fills in or not. Because if it doesn't fill in, then I think you're going to see numbers maybe come in a bit on the lower end of what's up there. Models have been going back and forth. They've been kind of leaning to the idea that it will eventually fill in when it moves over northern New Jersey and into southern New England later this afternoon. We'll see how it plays regarding this. And the other issue, of course, is going to be, well, is there, how much upside are we going to have? This is the HRRR's view of things. We are seeing the map right now showing you 11 o'clock this morning. And there's already precip aloft on the radar over many areas where where it's not reaching the ground and where the radar wasn't really showing too much from yesterday. You can see how the radar is supposed to look at 11 o'clock this morning, but just bear in mind that northern edge may not be reaching the ground. There's that first arm, and you'll notice by the time we get to 1 o'clock this afternoon, it's in New York City. Not much doing anything in southern New Jersey and in that little finger there in southeastern PA. That's where your hole is, and that's where we're waiting to see if this all fills in, which the HRRR model tries to do, brings it eastward, and then you get into some snow. This is at 7 o'clock in the evening, and the HRRR is actually a little bit colder on the runs today for Long Island and northern New Jersey. Kind of holds it on for an extra hour or so before it changes it over to rain, and then done. This is a very fast event, folks. It's just 4 to 6 hours of precip going from west to east, and it really is going to hinge on what the observations coming out from the local area airports and so on. If we start to see a lot of moderate snows breaking out, that'll give you confidence that you'll put down the accumulations that are forecast. For whatever reason, if the air is so dry that a lot of this stuff starts to evaporate a bit, lessens the intensity, then you're going to wind up seeing some lower numbers. As far as the rest of the weekend is concerned, we're going to be fine tomorrow with improving weather conditions. That is going to melt some of what's down here. We'll be seeing temperatures probably in the 30s. Maybe warm spots will be getting up close to 40. And there's your low, by the way. You notice after it's done, it's done. The gradient tightens up, so it'll be a breezy to windy day on Sunday. Sunday night into Monday, much colder air comes in, and it's setting us up for a cold but mostly dry week. Next weekend, models are signaling that there could be another weather system to deal with, but there's still a lot of uncertainty regarding cold air, which we will discuss later today, possibly with a Joe and Joe weather show with my colleague Joe Rayo, if he's feeling up to it. Maybe do one early this afternoon. So thanks for being here. Weather in 5, a little bit longer today. You've got your snowfall forecast maps to work with. So stay safe, and we will see you later.